due to the Gulf Stream, which it's a straight on, so it keeps water temperatures, quite moderate. It's going to be cold in the middle of winter, but this time of year it's quite nice.
Because surfing, let's face it, it's not what you think of when you think of Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that's grown over the years, from back when my dad and my uncles all started up there, everyone just thought they were mad. But now it's got its own little mini industry, and as you go around the coast, you'll see surf schools in all the different towns as you go down.
You say about the family connection, this isn't just you, this goes back now generations.
Yeah, it's a funny story. The Sandhouse Hotel here in Rossnell used to be owned by my grandparents, and my grandmother bought a surfboard in the States, thinking this would be something cool for guests to try out when they get here. She brought it back, and for the first year, my dad and my uncles thought it was just a boat and used to go up and down on it, just pushing themselves on it. And then eventually some Australian guests who were staying in the hotel explained to them how to use it, and from there on they just took to it.
As we make our way down to the shore, I look out in front of me and I can actually see how the bay is funneling the waves towards us. Luckily, they don't look too daunting yet. Let's see how I get on. Well, this beautiful beach here in Rossnell, it's a gorgeous day. Apparently conditions are absolutely perfect for a beginner like me. And I really am a beginner. I attempted surfing about 10, 15 years ago and was utterly useless. I got up for about 2 seconds and then just crashed and burned. So hopefully a bit more luck today. I'm in good hands, obviously, with Neil.
Basically what we're going to do is just stay here on the beach and we're going to teach her the important technique of getting to your feet. Okay, a lot of people find that very challenging. It uses a lot of muscles you wouldn't normally use. And the idea is to get from lying down to standing on the board in one quick and easy movement. It looks easy when good guys do it, but it's the most challenging bit for people at the start. So hopefully we can get Christine, to get to that position, get her up going in a straight line, but you never know. Again, some people never get there. We've got about 2 or 3 foot onshore waves. You'll see they roll in nice and easy. With no rip currents today, no jellyfish today, nothing like that. Nothing out there can hurt you.
Okay,
good start.
Getting up on the board on the beach is one thing, but managing to surf on real waves will be a whole different challenge. I'm finding it really tough. I think we can all agree I'm not a natural at this. Well, I've had a few attempts. It's much more difficult than it looks. You watch surfers, they make it just look seamless and beautiful, and I just haven't got the natural ability at all. It's really exhausting, but I'm determined to stand up on that board, even if it's for a few seconds. That would make me happy.
She's very close to getting up. I can see that her technique, it's got a few little tweaks in it, but hopefully we can iron those out now and she can get up on it.
Exhilarated and exhausted, all rolled into one. It was a fantastic experience. I managed to stand up for all of 2 seconds, but I'm incredibly proud of it. Neil's a great teacher, obviously. Fantastic fun. What an amazing experience. And I leave the shore to scale new heights. I'm heading further south to what is probably the most famous mountain in Ireland along the wild Atlantic route. Croagh Patrick is 5 miles from the picturesque town of Westport, and you can't miss it. And here in County Mayo, we're going to scale a mountain that's the site of a religious pilgrimage. It predates Christianity. Over 1 million people climb it every single year, some of them in their bare feet. The mountain is 2,500 feet high and rises up out of the coastline above a bay filled with hundreds of tiny islands. In Celtic mythology, the mountain was already really important, and it became known as the place where St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, fasted for 40 days and nights. Local hiker Michael Murphy is going to guide me to the top and tell me all about it. So Michael, what is the significance of this mountain?
Probably the history of St. Patrick will be the main reason of it. It's not just the location, but the history of St. Patrick, who came to Ireland in the 5th century and converted Ireland from the pagans to Christianity. And it continued on and got more popular as the centuries passed, to modern times, when in the last Sunday in July you have anything up to 30,000 people in one day.
So a staggering amount of people to be climbing a mountain in one day?
You have to see it to believe it. You see it yourself today as we're going up and down, people talking to each other, total strangers, become friends. And the comment, you're nearly there, you're doing fine, even though you might be on your hands and knees.
25,000 people make this climb on the pilgrimage day each year. They are all aiming to make it to the little chapel at the top. Climbing Croagh Patrick is said to be an act of penance or atonement. Right, shall we start?
I think we should.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Michael, let's do it. Oh, goodness me, this is beautiful.
Don't feel your breath or your legs going yet, no?
This whole area was dug out by glaciers, leaving this quartzite peak, an especially hard rock. In the 1980s, gold was found in the mountain, but the locals chose to preserve the area for cultural reasons, so it's never been mined.
This is the pilgrim path. This is the one that everybody does. And you know, whichever way you go, we all end up in the one spot.
Some people do this at such a pace. I can't believe how quick.
She probably is training for something, you see, so.
Yes, exactly.
How you doing?
Hi.
Good now, thank you.
At 2,500 feet, it's not an easy task to try and scale this thing. And if you do want to see the chapel at the top, there's only one thing you can do, and that is just keep on walking. Having said that, it's in cloud at the minute, so I'm hoping by the time I've made it to the top, it will have all cleared and it's there in all its glory. As we move up the mountain, it seems some people are still up for the daunting task of taking on this climb barefoot. I thought I'd better give it a try. Oh my goodness me. Like, I saw that lady down below and she was going quite quickly.
She was, but she's a better grounding.
It's the cold that hits you to begin with, actually,
Absolutely,
Michael, isn't it? My feet are clearly wimps. This is, it's actually way tougher than it looks. The people on pilgrims, they do this. It takes how long? Maybe 3 hours? And
3 hours? Yeah, it could be 3 hours to get down.
That's a really, really
going
tough.
down is going to be a lot tougher than you trying to hold your grip all the time.
Yeah, incredibly tough thing to do, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I'm quite cut out for it, sadly.
I'll carry your shoes.
Yeah, no, the shoes might have to go back on if I want to make it to the top. Well, I've eventually reached what they call the first station, which is the natural sort of stopping point on the trek. And you get here, you take a bit of a breather, you reflect on what you've just walked, and then you look all the way up there and you see what's still to come. And I can see people up at the top there, they look like tiny little ants all of a sudden, so it's quite a distance still. And the top is still in clouds, so hopefully that'll all clear by the time I get up there. This is much tougher than it looks. Michael told me, yeah, you'll be fine. If you're kind of physical, it'll be okay. It's really tough. The backs of my legs are completely killing me, but I have a bit of a way to go, so I'm not going to moan just yet. The weather is closing in fast, and I'm not sure I'm going to make it to the top. I'm climbing Croagh Patrick, Ireland's holy mountain. I'm halfway up and the view reveals lots of little islands below, clustered together in Clew Bay. One of them is called Dorinish Island, or Beetle Island, after one of the Fab Four. This is a nice welcome little breather, I think, Michael.
Absolutely. You've earned it.
Yeah, we are.
Earned it, yeah.
Well, what have you to look out at as well? This bay is just gorgeous, isn't it?
This is a majestic place, and it's probably one of the finest examples Ireland has of drumlins. Drumlins are the remains that are left of the glaciers as they scraped this quartzite mountain that we're on, and the dust and rocks and everything that they left in the lumps that we see that were formed out in here in the bay. So it's a majestic place like that, and there's one John Lennon, if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
Beatle fame. Yeah, John fell in love with this place here, and he was coming on holidays to the far side of the bay itself, which is Clew Bay, and he realised there was an island for sale here, so he bought it, and the island is directly out, first one on your left-hand side there, the long and naked one, yeah. And he had the idea of retiring there himself. Right up to the time that he was killed. His plan was to get away from all the Beatlemania and just move out there.
I never knew that.
There you are.
Right. That's privacy out there.
That is
isn't
privacy. Yoko Ono has sold it back again. Whatever she got for the island, she gave it to an orphanage.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right, okay, well, we'll finish it off.
Okay.
Obviously, this is the easy bit.
Oh, this is the easy bit. Yeah, let's go.
We've been climbing for more than 3 hours now, and the weather has turned nasty. For some people who get to the top of the mountain, the chapel is a welcome refuge, while for pilgrims, it's the ultimate goal. Oh my goodness! You can hardly see it in amongst the clouds there! Right, this is a magical little place, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Doors open, we can all enjoy.
It's all happening. Father Johnny is one of the team who says Mass at the top of the mountain. He has to climb ahead of all the pilgrims to open the chapel. It was built in 1905 by local men who carried the materials all the way to the top using donkeys.
The peace of the Lord be with you always.
John, just tell me the significance of St. Patrick to the mountain here and indeed the whole community around here.
Well, first of all, welcome. You made it to the top after that tough effort. Commend you for that. And St. Patrick here behind us, he came here in the 5th century and he prayed on this mountain for 40 days, 40 nights of Lent. And he recognised it as a place of worship. Even before Christianity, it was a place of pagan worship. So he came to make it a place of Christian worship. And ever since the centuries, people have come here for all kinds of reasons, for private prayer, group prayer, community prayer. People have come from all over the world. The particular day people mostly come here, of course, is the last Sunday of July, which we call Reek Sunday.
It is quite a challenging walk, of course, there, John. So what do people get out of that?
If nothing else, a sense of achievement.
But deeper down, I mean, your head has to clear now and again. When you're up here in the clouds, when you're up here looking at the wonderful creation around you, when it's foggy and wet and cold and you're hungry and tired, you go through a lot of mixed emotions, physically, mentally, spiritually, in every way. So you make space, and in that space, you get to know yourself better and hopefully go back with a feeling of something achieved or something discovered or something answered.
John, thank you very much.
A pleasure to
Gotta
meet
go
you.
the whole way back down
You
again.
have. No shortcuts.
Lovely to meet
God
you.
bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, I eventually made it to the top. The sun has come out, the clouds have cleared, and look at that backdrop. It doesn't get any better. It's beautiful. It is incredible to think, though, that St. Patrick came here. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and it's tough conditions up here. So all I ask of you is, next St. Patrick's Day, when you're sitting having a pint, you've got a big hat on, you're watching the parade, think about St. Patrick and what he was really all about. I eventually made it back down to sea level. As we head further down the route to an area of stunning natural beauty known as Connemara, the scenery is jaw-dropping. I'm heading to Killary Harbour, which is a fjord, a long, narrow stretch of water with steep sides that's nearly 10 miles long and almost 150 feet deep at the centre, and the locals have fished here for centuries. Ireland is well known for its seafood. Over 40 types of seafood are harvested in Irish waters, and 60% of that is exported all around the world. So today I'm going to try and help out on a boat, and who knows, I might get myself a free lunch. Hello, Catherine. How are you? I'm very good. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Get your life jacket. Oh, thank you very much. The deep, still waters in Killary are perfect for salmon and mussel farming. Marty and Catherine have been farming together on the water here for more than a decade. The mussels attach themselves to ropes and rocks where they grow by feeding on plankton. Catherine, it looks like it's a bit of a thriving business, this mussel farming. I mean, how long have you been involved with it all?
Marty's been farming mussels on Killary for over 25 years now. Marty and I met and set up our own farm 14 years ago now. And as you can see, we've got fantastic crop coming on for this year. It's a great industry because it means that people can stay in this remote area and have a business and an income through even the winter months.
You're clearly not from this neck of the woods originally, Catherine?
No, I'm an import into the area, managing exports now. I was very fortunate as a young girl growing up. My parents came on holiday here and they actually built a holiday home. And then over the years, I got to know and love the area. And then one time I came for a weekend and met a mussel farmer, and that was that.
So how is it looking at the minute? Are you happy with the crop this year? I mean, how do you see to show us, man?
Oh yeah, I'll show you this. The seed settled in June. It's smaller stuff. I'll show you that.
Right.
So this is our crop for 2 years' time. On Killary, the mussels seed naturally. It's a completely sustainable process. So the mussels spawn and create the spat, and that then rises up, and we just provide something for the mussels to grow on with lots of rope. And you can see already the size. It would have gone from being tiny, tiny like a grain of sand, and already it's up to 1.5 centimetres. So these are good. They grow very quickly on the ropes because they're in the water the whole time. Whereas mussels that grow on the shore, the tide comes off them twice a day, and it's just lovely that we're working with nature. Sometimes she's kind to us, sometimes she's cruel to us, but we always have to respect Mother Nature and work with her to produce the mussels.
Once the mussels are ready for harvesting, it's all hands on deck as the dirty work begins.
The machine actually takes the beard off. The beard has to be removed before eating, and by taking the beard off, you're supplying them into a restaurant literally ready for cooking. No work in the kitchen for the chef, just straight into the pot.
That's my favourite bit. Okay,
Exactly.
So it's all about the speed here, isn't it?
That's it, and to be honest, once the beard is taken off and the muscles clean, done by machine, they're the ultimate fast food to cook.
I've always loved my seafood. I've always loved my mussels, actually, but I've never fully appreciated the work that goes into putting those mussels on your plate. And spending the day with Catherine and Marty here, it's such a passion for them. They really want those